السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. There's an important thing that we need to talk about. For a fact, we know that Day of Judgment is nearing. Obviously, we know that Day of Judgment is going to come up. It doesn't randomly come up, but we know that there are like various signs of the day, signs that tell us about that how close the Day of Judgment is. And we see that many of those signs are slowly unraveling across different parts of the globe. In the last month, we saw in Makkah and various parts of Saudi Arabia rainfall being hit, and the dry lands of mountains, the deserts, and all eventually turning up into deserts. In the deserts of Saudi Arabia and all, we see thick rivers that are coming up. And in the last week, we heard the devastating news of earthquakes being hit of 7.8, 7.9 magnitude in Turkey, Syria, Palestine, and all, raising the death toll until now up to around 21,500. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on those souls and grant them Jannah. What does it all tell us? Obviously, for a fact, we know the Day of Judgment is nearing. But another thing that it teaches us is that once the sun rises from the west, we know that there's no forgiveness, there's no istighfar. So what does it tell us? It teaches us that we need to seek Allah's forgiveness before it's too late. We need to repent. We need to ask Allah for tawbah and return back to Him. Ask Allah for forgiving all the sins that you've done, for correcting you, for help, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you through the straight path. Every day morning you recite Surah Al-Fatiha. We say Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Means what? Oh Allah, guide me through the straight path. It's all about guiding you in the right manner, so that you are not involving much in any of the sins that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had informed us not to involve ourselves. And then also to talk about repenting, because we know, for a fact, we know that we don't know when we are going to pass away. One day or the other, any of us is going to sleep in that 6 feet hole. That is something you need to remind yourself every day. Every time you pray, every time you're involving in salah, you have to remind yourself that you're praying in a manner that it's your last salah, because we may not know whether we'll be up alive to pray the next salah or the next prayer or not. So it's up to us about and for a fact that we also know that whatever we do in this dunya does have a great impact to your akhirah. Because when you talk about Day of Judgment, it's all about the day when our performance, or the day when our good deeds and the bad deeds are going to be measured, and eventually the resultant of ours is either going to Jannah or Jahannam. And now we also know that Ramadan is coming up in maybe a month or few days past a month, and there's a dua that we have to remind ourselves that we have to at least say Allahumma ballighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, make us reach the month of Ramadan. To talk about it, because many of us may not be alive to see the first day of Ramadan, but being able to reach the month of Ramadan, being able to fast, seeking Allah's forgiveness, it's like a greatest benefit that you can have in your life. Because once that ruh of yours is gone, once your soul is been taken off, there's no mercy for you. As in, depends on how much of good deeds and bad deeds you've done. Mercy and all depends on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But once you take your ruh, you cannot ask it to be returned back. How much ever you played, you ain't gonna return back to the same earth to perform more good deeds than what you've actually performed. So remind yourself about how you want to live and how you wished your akhirah is. Assalam.